Hi, y'all. I'm Steve Williams. I'm a senior business consultant, and I help business owners turn their nightmares back into their dreams so they're able to be profitable, be able to delegate responsibility so they can spend time with their families, which is the whole reason they started their business, to provide for their families. I hope you enjoyed this episode. Had a great time with everybody here. Take care. Love y'all.
I got hella problems. Don't need no shovel, handle dirt with choppers. You get your issues, try killing me. Eliminate all contenders, talk about ending me. Got Glocks and Drakes, them bullets sped out. Yeah, the mortician can't get the lead.
How you guys doing today? We are back in the Wolf Den, and today we have a very special episode. We have Mr. Steve Williams, senior business consultant. That has been here for how many months now, helping out?
Right about 6, right?
About 6 months.
About
Yes, sir.
6 months.
Yep.
And that comes with a pretty price tag to say your industry, right? Like a pretty price tag, which I say Austin's spending a good bit of money to have you here, huh?
Well, it's definitely an investment to improve their business. So the whole idea behind what I do is I help business owners positively improve their business to positively improve their lives. And so sometimes the time I spend with a client is short. Sometimes the time I spend with a client is like this. And so it really depends on their needs and their willingness to accept change and their willingness of their team to embrace the change that we're, I say suggesting because that's a more polite way of saying I'm mandating it. Most folks prefer to have things suggested to them than mandated. Along the way, they start to learn the importance of what we're doing.
Well, I would think you would be doing a good job being as that you're still here. You know what I mean?
We've had a great deal of success, yeah.
So,
and I'm privileged to get to work with Austin and his two teams.
I assume too you seeing a lot of success from the things that they implemented.
Oh, I look absolutely and Steve can attest to this, from day one to now is completely two different ways of looking at it. Look, when we first dropped the bomb on the two teams, they were kind of like, hold up. You know, some of them had a little more insight than the others because it kind of just snowballed to that effect because we started figuring out things along the way that, this needs to be fixed and this needs to be fixed and this wasn't done or this wasn't done. But, yeah, between the two teams, like, at first it was a shock. It was a cultural shock. And, look, you figured out real quick who was on board and kind of who we had to coach to get on board. But, yeah, it was interesting. Look, it's been a learning curve, and it's been definitely a breath of fresh air. For sure.
I mean, we stole him for like one afternoon on Austin's dime that he had. He did we had a mini boot camp up in the marketing department, and look, we completely changed our stuff around. I mean, look what I'm dressed in right now. You know?
Yeah, it's definitely better.
You ain't seen
I
me
mean, look, it's still a work in progress, but look, we're gaining some traction.
Yeah, we're gaining. Yeah, there's still wires exposed and paint that ain't been put up, but there's some simple things that still got an analog board in there, stuff like that. So.
We are working on getting those things and making it happen. No, but I don't know, man. I just see a lot of things, and you always hear. I mean, you hear before any of my guys. Pretty much, whenever you start sitting, you the last one here. I'm pretty much usually the last one to leave most of the time. So I leave before you even sometimes. So what you pretty much doing like 12-hour days right now, and then like if you want to kind of tell us like what does that really consist of? Like how do you kind of start that process?
Okay, so I am kind of insane. I am driven by my passion, and my passion is coaching, and helping folks learn how they can improve. And so, I usually start. Well, first of all, let me back up. So my week ends Friday about noon, 11:30 or so, with my client, with Austin's team. And then I head to the hotel, change, leave by 2:00 to drive to the airport in New Orleans. You got to spend a half an hour to go from the rental car place to the airport. I catch a 5:30 flight from there through Houston, gets me home Saturday morning about 1 a.m. I have all day Saturday with my family, with my sweetheart, whatever she needs me to do. I do as much as I can. I might get a nap in if she's feeling kind, or if we're traveling and our daughter's driving and I'm not driving, then I'll fall asleep, because that's what happens when I'm in the car. If I'm not driving, I fall asleep. And then 6 a.m. Sunday morning, I leave my house to drive to the airport in Sacramento to catch 2 flights to get back out here between 7 and 8 at night on Sunday night. And then I start, Monday morning's the hardest morning. My alarm's set for 4:45. I usually get up before it. Monday mornings I usually don't. I usually sleep to the alarm. And then I'm on site by 8 o'clock. And then I'll leave anywhere between 5 and 7, depending. And then there's always an hour of prep before I come and hour or two of work afterwards. So yeah, I easily work 12 hours a day.
Is that hour that you're talking about, and then maybe that 2 hours after? Is that like I guess like you kind of reporting back to your company about what you had to do, or
no? There's other stuff I need to get done. Yeah, there's a weekly report that I do.
But like just maybe like you talking about like personal stuff that you just need to do, or
yeah, there's just stuff I need to track and make sure we're on track for. We have a lot of moving parts in here, and there's stuff that has progressed quickly, stuff that has progressed slowly. We've got new software in both companies. We have entity structuring coming in. There's a lot of moving parts, and some of the stuff takes time. There's contracts that got to go back and forth. We're in the middle of getting the lease stuff squared away. So sometimes you just need quiet. Not saying that I can't get that here, but just sometimes you got to go back to the hotel and relax for a couple minutes, and then look at it with fresh eyes and go, oh, okay, this is what I planned on doing. This didn't happen. I need to be ensured that I touch it the next day. So there's just pre-planning and post-planning that come along with it.
I want to touch back. I want to come back to what we're talking about right here, but I want to like take a step back for a second. I want you to let us know kind of like, how did you even get into this world of like business consulting? Because like it is kind of crazy. Like the other day you was telling us that you worked with almost 100. It's 100 companies now, or 99?
99 companies.
99 companies.
I've been with, yeah. Now, not all of them have been complete engagements where you're spending time. Some are just a couple of days where we're just interviewing and finding out that it's not going to be a fit for whatever reason. And so,
so y'all turned out so that's something great.
Yeah,
that's great
yeah.
So y'all turned down companies.
Oh yeah. I would like a little more leeway in that to be able to fire bad clients.
Right.
They are. But no, we're not always a match.
So basically, in other words, it's almost a good thing sometimes to figure out that, hey, this isn't somebody that not all money is good money, right?
Correct. And then there's sometimes folks that are asking for help that have no way that they can pay
or
no
be
way
helped.
at all.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so we can get into some of the worst money you can borrow, which would be 941 payroll taxes, because the government will come in and seize your checking account if you pull stuff like that. So that's even worse than borrowing money from Guido with a bat. So, but there are just some folks that have back taxes. They haven't paid their 941, their payroll taxes. They owe vendors. There are just some folks that they're so far out on the limb. There's no way for us to actually physically be able to help them. Usually we try and leave a few suggestions for them. We'll maybe put together.
I know that kind of what sounds like. Like if somebody like y'all, like, cause like I've been seeing what y'all been doing. Yeah. If y'all are telling somebody like, hey, bro, y'all past the point of where, cause that's like bad. Like you might as well like at that point if y'all
you're basically giving them a softer landing of how hard.
Like you should stop doing what you're doing, basically.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
So if you go to a company basically and you tell them like, we probably not gonna be a good fit, that company should probably shut their doors down.
Well, you always want them to try. I mean, I don't want anyone to give up. That's just not the way. There are some folks, and I'm not going to be very specific, but there's some folks that owed back taxes, owed a lot of payroll taxes, and they were just in a really bad place. They couldn't hardly pay, yet they were in a field that they should be making a lot of money. Well, they just didn't know what their costs were, and they spent money where they shouldn't have. And we want to help everybody, but sometimes either they financially aren't able to do it, or they're not mentally ready to do it. And either way, it's kind of sad to see. To answer your original question, though, so I come out of the building supply industry. I started in that when I was 18 and worked for a company called Diamond International. Anybody under 40 ain't going to know who the heck that was. And they were a big thing. We had 96 units across the United States. We also had mills. We had land.
It was a diamond company?
It was a building supply company.
Okay.
But they also owned mills that would produce the sheet goods and lumber. They owned land that the timber would be harvested off of. They had a wholesale division. It was a very financially stable company. My plan was to go in there is to go in as a dumb kid and then become a district manager, work my way up. And so that's what I did. And I went to work there. We had push button phones. We had I predate computers, okay? So we did everything on a 10 key. My sweet wife she still remembers.
I don't even know what a 10 key is.
Yeah. It's a calculator with a tape, all right? My sweet wife still remembers the common board footage factors. And so it was all done manually. In 88, I think, we bought a compact computer for $4,000, and I bought Lotus 123 for $800. We had a store manager who had made a spreadsheet, a template, to where it would do the sheet and board footage math for us. If you're quoting a house, it was easy to spend 12 hours because you wrote it out by hand. Okay, you had to do the math by hand. You had to have it checked, and then you priced it, and you had that checked to read because it was all manual.
Right.
And so I would do my stuff at home. I had full pricing authority, so I taught my sweet wife what the board footage factors were. She would check them. The store manager would buy off on that, and I present them. That template would save 8 hours.
And you basically was the one that kind of like put that together?
No, another store manager had it.
Okay.
He shared it with the stores in our division, and I went out and bought the tools so I could do that.
But you saw what kind of benefit that brought to a company.
It was tremendous. And then in the 90s, you started getting point of sale software that was for the building industry, and they started rolling that stuff out.
Is that kind of like what ignited your spark, though, to like, hey, how can I get these processes down to make the most out of the time of whatever you're doing?
Well, I've been paid by performance for a long time. So as a full commission guy, paperwork you did in the evening because you couldn't be in front of folks at that time. And so the more face time I had, more opportunities I had to quote and find good customers, good clients to develop a relationship with. So obviously, I worked from 6 to 6 back in those days because that's about when sun up was, and that's about when sundown was. We had old phone recorders at home. They were with the cassette tapes, right? And if I had a problem on a project, I would tell my sweetheart, don't answer the phone, don't listen to the recordings, turn that down, because so and so is going to call, and he's just going to light it up. And had a great client that we did a lot of work together. He's passed away. Wonderful guy. He wore super short shorts. Okay, super short shorts. All right, stuff would pop out the leg of the shorts.
I say, sounds like
okay.
Maybe might sound like me, but I ain't got nothing popping out.
He'd have his shirt buttoned down to here and gold chains. great guy. And we got along really, really good. But we had a project where everything went wrong. Absolutely everything was delivered to the wrong lot. They missed this, they missed that. And I was running down in the evenings with my sweetheart, moving stuff, dropping off stuff. And so I had other clients that would come to me and go, is it reasonable for me to make X amount of dollars? Remember, this is the 80s and very early 90s. So real estate in California has always been expensive. But back then we were selling houses, or my clients were selling houses for $150 to $199. Okay. And
$1 million houses today.
Now they're going to be 600, probably $750 to $1 million house, and so they would ask me questions like, "I can't seem to make money." I go, "Okay, well, help me understand where your problem is." And they would go, "I'm just not making any money, Steve. Come on now, this isn't too tough to figure out." And I go, "Okay, well, are you tracking your costs?" And they go, "Well, what do you mean?" I go, "Okay, well, how much did you budget for the materials for this project?" They would say X. I said, "Okay, how much did you plan for overages?" And they'd look at me like I was crazy, and they go, "I didn't plan for any overages." So in the lumber market, it's very volatile. It will swing 20 or 30% in a day, and so given that, you need to plan for either increased cost or delays. And either way, if they're not planning for that stuff, that's how they lose money. And so the most common theme was they weren't tracking their costs. And please don't think I'm talking down to these guys. They can take a drawing, two-dimensional drawing, and build your dream home out of it. Okay, I don't have that kind of skill. I don't have that kind of patience. But what they can do, the mastery they have over the materials that they use is just beyond what I can reasonably share as how amazed I am of what the finished products are. They just do supreme work, but they just didn't track their costs. They didn't know how much labor cost, didn't know how much they were spending on their materials, and they would list their house at or below what their costs were. And so I would start to go, okay, well, what would you pay for the land? Okay, what'd you pay for framing? And back then, there's some simple rules of thumb. You figured $10 a square foot to frame a house, and you figured X amount for the lot, and then you figure for your finish, and how much do you want to make on top of that? Typically, all these guys are borrowing money to fund it, and so especially if they're building spec homes. So they have to factor in the cost of their money, and typically all that stuff they knew was there, but they didn't actually track it. They didn't actually work to a budget, and so I would start helping them with that. Previous to that, I got a lot out of sports when I was a kid. Both me and my sweetheart, we spent the 12 years we were trying to have kids, we gave back to the community coaching various sports. Love coaching, love seeing folks excel. And so with that kind of a mindset, it just carried on with me and became a passion of mine to help folks succeed. And so as I would help my clients understand just the simple rules of business and accounting for your expenses, it just kind of grew with me as I got older. My sweetheart would say that, you're pretty good at solving problems. We pulled our kids, or my sweetheart made the decision she was going to pull our kids out of the charter school and she was going to homeschool. Very concerned about that decision. Well, you fast forward to now, our kids are 30 and 27. The best investment we ever made was my sweetheart to give up those 12, 13, 14 years of her life and teach our kids, because they're head and shoulders above the other folks that they deal with. Right. And the kids see it now too. And so during that time, like I said, I work from 6 to 6 pretty much all the time. There was a time where I went back to school to get my degree because there were headhunters that were coming and going, hey, we want to, we're thinking about having you do this or that position. And they go, what school did you graduate from? I told them the high school. They go, yeah, but okay, that's cute. What college did you go to? I said the School of Hard Knocks, and it's an ongoing education. Some guys laughed at it, some guys didn't. But they go, well, honestly, Steve, without a degree, we're not going to consider you for the position. I said, well, that's your choice. The body of work I have is evidence of what my ability is. And so.
Did you ever get any? That's
yeah.
Yeah, because like that's I don't.
Yeah, no, I went back to school. I was in my 30s.
No. I'm saying like you didn't not kick back, but like I don't know. You didn't kind of like disagree with him, like almost. Hey, look, what do I need a degree for if I'm showing you what my value and what I'm worth is right now, right?
Right. And I get it. Back then, it was a big deal. They wanted a piece of paper saying that you'd done some classes and you're able to fulfill the requirements for this. And I get that. And eventually, I talking with my sweetheart, she convinced me also that it would be a good investment. And so I did online college, which back then was kind of unusual. And there's some charlatans out there. And no, I did real courses, did real work. I got a 3.8 out of school. And so I got that degree and felt satisfied in my effort. And also at the same time, our kids were doing homeschool. So I'd get home. We have a 2-story, 150-year-old house that on the second floor, my sweetheart turned it into a school for the kids. We had 2 rooms up there, 2 bedrooms. It's all school. And so she would run the kids. They started school at 8 or 8:30. I'm bad because I don't remember which, but they would run easily until 9 o'clock at night. And if the kids were interested in a subject, my sweetie just kept going with it. Oftentimes when in California in charter schools, you got to go in every 6 weeks and produce the work to show proof of effort. And so she would sit down with one of the teacher counselors there, and by the time the kids were in, sixth and third grade. Yeah, Stephen was in 6th, Sherry was in 3rd. They were getting college work already at that age because the kids were interested, and so they got just this huge depth of information that became a realization to them now in their 20s, dealing with their generation of just how much more they learned and how much they benefited from it, and understanding hard work.
Is that because of the one-on-one interaction? Like, I'm guessing.
Yeah. And so, one of the funniest stigmas about being homeschooled is that you're missing teeth and you're not that bright. Yeah, that's not really how it is.
That's
I think the biggest one I would
say they say the social
awkwardness.
That social awkwardness, but
that's what I was going to ask. Did you ever get any kickbacks from your kids saying like,
no.
Well, I guess they don't really know the difference, but my point is, I guess if you do extracurricular sports,
that's what I'm about to say. Yeah, that's what I had people that was homeschooled with like around my age.
I guess
like
the friend aspect. How did your kids get the friend aspect?
They did exactly what you just said. They put them in CBA sports or community, whatever.
Yeah, okay. Stephen was really into Cook Sawan. He's a black belt.
Okay, so that's how they.
That.
Yeah. Okay.
Our daughter, very musically inclined, so she played flute for a number of years. We're active in the church that we belong to, and so they, on a weekly basis, they would have activities during the week, and then on Sunday we'd go to church and they'd have classes, and homeschooled kids, in all the studies that have been done, they are much more comfortable with adults than traditional schooled kids.
Yeah,
and so that gives them a leg up or two actually for maturing.
I thought they excel more too, don't they? Because their stats, I'm pretty sure it was like in the 1980s, it was like, I want to say 50,000 or something like that. Like that was around the number of no, it wasn't even that high. It was like only like 3 to I want to say it was like in the low thousands of how many kids around the country were homeschooled.
Right.
Then you get to the 90s, then it starts jumping up to the multi thousands, and then you get to the early 2000s. Now you start talking hundreds of thousands, and then now you get to 2026. You want to know how many kids are being homeschooled now in 2026? 5 million plus.
Yeah,
it's beginning to be bigger and bigger and bigger and more. Well, and just people are stealing the stuff that they kind of got in the schools, and they don't want to. They don't want to put them in and have them involved with that.
Some of the and remember, I'm from the great socialist state of California, so some of the curriculum that we have out there is ridiculous.
Yeah.
Okay? That stuff that parents should be teaching, it doesn't need to be part of school.
Correct.
And so within the charter school, within a very short period of time, my sweetheart was teaching other parents how to teach the curriculum.
Oh, that's
she
cool.
worked with the school in regards to curriculum that they needed to select. When the kids went into high school, my sweetheart said that they have an opening in the school board and I should become involved. So I said, yes, ma'am, I'll exactly as you like. And within 6 months, I was voted the school board president and did that for 7 years. And so,
you look like you would be a school board president. Straight up. You look.
I've been called a whole lot worse in my life, so I'm going to take that. That'll be fine.
Hey, I can see kids. Hey, y'all be quiet. Mr. Steve is coming down the hall.
Yeah. Well,
you know that happened before.
Well, that we did with administrative stuff mostly. So we really weren't there during school hours. We were always there after school and stuff like that.
Well, I know now I'm coming to the office. I'm like, fuck, is Mr. Steve here? I got to make sure I got my clothes all right. Got to make sure I got everything right.
You've been dressing really shabby. We got to get that figured out. Because it's all image.
Brad, I'm telling you, next time we need to put the camera in there because I want to get your reaction when we talk shit about Nick.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not.
No, you're doing your health.
You know.
Yeah.
It's
helping us
it's
succeed.
Important. It's very important if you're going to succeed, that first of all you have the mindset that you can succeed, and then you also have the image that you succeed. You know, that fake it till you make it. There's a lot of truth in that. You got to believe that you can do that, though. And so anyway, I have a history of helping folks solve problems, and we had to close a branch because of stupid things some teachers were doing. I had to sit in front of I can't even remember how many parents there were. They all got to come in. They all got to voice their opinion. I got to be the bad guy. Totally okay with that. The principal at our location had already found a really good charter school for all the kids to go to, and because this particular branch that we had was an hour and a half away from us, little too far for our school, and the teachers that were there basically showed that they were untrustworthy. That's all I'm going to say. Yeah. And so I got to be the bad guy and tell everyone, well, we're going to close. There's other school board members. There's 7 of us. Okay, it had to be an odd number. And so we all were in agreement that it had to be closed. And I said, okay, fine. I'll be the face of this. It's just easier because I don't care. I mean, it's the right decision. Don't take that wrong. I don't care what folks think about me. I don't care. I don't got time. I mean, you can like me or hate me. I don't care.
Well, I think that it's good that you have that self-awareness to you, because like with me example, most people try to talk to me and they're not good. It's gonna go through one ear and out the other. You know, I actually want to listen and hear what you have to say, just because, you know, you talk with validity, if that makes sense. You know what I mean? Like,
you're kind.
You know, no, I'm being truly honest. Like, usually if somebody tells me something, I would be like, oh, fuck you, dude. You don't know what the fuck you talking about. Like, shut up. Like, what are we talking about here? Like, I know what's right. Like, no, come on. But like,
I think that's why we liked having you around, because he actually shuts up and listens.
He was a little tough to wrangle. I had to let him go a couple of times, and then we kind of rein him back in, tell him shut up so I can keep speaking. But I know I can get away with that with him. With Austin, you know, Austin's got all kinds of power and very determined, very driven, and it's a blast to see him at 35, not 36 in a couple of days.
Next
right?
weekend. Yeah.
Next weekend. All right. Yeah.
36.
Oh, that is next weekend, huh?
Yeah. Yeah, we're both February guys. And so it's great to see, because in our time together, he's had at least a dozen different opportunities for business. Okay, which is fantastic. Now, not all of them are things you can realize right now, but he's going to be able to pull a couple more things out here in the next few weeks.
I'll kind of elaborate on that because that's a good point. And you know, we've talked about this before, but one of the biggest things I can say that I kind of take away from this whole experience. Look, I was in it with the guys. Like, look, we were daily, every day. I was on the job, busting ass with them. You know, nights, long days. I mean, just endless hours. And I guess it's kind of like I could compare it to a horse that is horse racing. They got the blinders on, and I'm sitting there, and look, I know what I want. I know the focus that I'm going for, right. But I couldn't see all the issues and the problems that we were having. Look, we were doing, you know, well and doing what we could do, but in the background, there's all this other shit that's happening. I'm like, until I took the blinders off, and look, he was like, look, you're not gonna be going on these jobs anymore. I'm like, the what? I'm like, hold up. What you mean? He's like, no. I'm just thinking like, he's like, no, you need to be in the office, you know, controlling this. And I'm like, yeah, but I'm like, damn, I couldn't. Look, it was hard. It was the hardest. When I tell you the hardest thing, it was literally the hardest thing. Well, listen, I literally. And I'm gonna make a joke at Nick. I used to dress like I was dressing like you. No, I'm making a joke. But look, I would literally stay in gym stuff and workout pants, just in tennis shoes and shit like that, just so I couldn't go on the jobs. Cause look, I was still wanting to go. Yep. The guys were like, "Hey, we got this problem, we got this." I'm like, "All right, come on." I'm like, "No, I can't go. I'm locked in. I gotta fix the, we gotta start troubleshooting these other issues."
Well, I feel like you and me, we struggle with like same thing, like the delegating the task and all. Would you feel like that would be pretty much the hardest thing that I'm just using it based off of us, with being with like everybody you work with? Do you feel like that's one of the top things?
Absolutely.
Delegating the task?
Yeah, delegation is key. I teach folks all the time, delegation is the key to an owner's freedom. And your business is like a child, okay? And so you want to protect it, take care of it. The problem with that is then you become the sun of your own solar system, and then you require everyone to report to you. The most extreme example of that I've had is where a gentleman in private shared with me. He has 27 employees. Every decision had to go through him, and mentally that was wearing on him immensely, and he was fearful that he couldn't keep up this, and delegation gave him his life back. And so it's understanding that you hired these folks because you saw talent, you saw ability within them. Trust them with responsibility. And when you change from being the center of your solar system to where you're the CEO, and then below you can have a general manager, or at least you have someone who's responsible for revenue generation, delivery of your product or service, and finance, which is just keeping track of the numbers. From that simple delegated path, you can then branch out and you can build an Amazon, a Walmart, whatever. In extreme ownership, Jocko Willink talks about, and this has been studied for years. It's been studied since the 80s, and I've always been interested in the maximum number of reports for any one person. What would be your idea of the maximum number of people a supervisor or owner, manager, don't care what the title is, would report to them? What do you think the max number is?
Like 10.
Okay.
You mean in like just one person reporting to however many people they need to report to?
No. How many people can you yourself have that report to you that you can still
manage?
Yeah.
Oh, I was doing it just now, 10.
Okay.
But I was doing it, but I was getting very, like you said, like this other guy, Duncan can testify to this. He would tell me something or report it or whatever, and I get aggravated.
Yeah.
I'd be like, leave me no, dude. Like,
So
you know what you're doing.
Yeah. Okay. So
I
that's
was getting to the same
at 10.
point.
All right. Austin, what do you think?
So I feel like, and I'm gonna say this two different ways because I've had the training. So I would originally said 5 to 6 people, but then I know the answer is gonna be that one person.
Well, actually 4 to 5.
Okay, I was gonna say because look,
Yeah.
because I feel it now. Look, when I tell you the way we have it set up now, like look, sometimes I go home, my phone doesn't ring. Like that's not, and I took 6 months to get to that point. But look, sometimes my phone business wise doesn't even ring after hours.
Except it's Nick Sanchez.
Yeah, no, Nick calls me all hours of the night.
That's what I hear.
But seriously, look, my phone will not ring business wise, and it's kind of weird.
It's funny, dude. Everybody hates on me and shit.
No.
But everybody answer my calls.
I do answer this call. Except after 10, my phone goes into automatic. I don't care who Nick Sanchez is after 10.
Duncan is the only motherfucker that ignores me. I'll give it. He's the only one that's been able, but I'm gonna get it out of him.
Text me as much as 10 people.
But no,
That's
but look, seriously, like my phone used to ring all the time, and not to say my wife would get aggravated, but it was kind of that point where it was like, she did the self-realization like, oh, hey, this is what he's got to do to make our family, operations work. But at the same aspect, look, they want the family time. So in my head, Mr. Steve comment made me realize like, okay, I'm at the point now where I either gotta keeping a small business mindset and go or step back to where I can, allow the people that I'm entrusting my company with to actually do their job. And that's kind of what made me realize, like, look, I was kind of holding them back. And look, now open their potential. Listen, like I said, I go home sometimes. I don't even realize I got to go in and say, hey, Josh, what we got on the schedule today? I don't even know what the schedule is. Yeah. But they have it all handled. Look, I used to get here and have to say, okay, I need you to do this, this, and this. I get here. Everything's already done. Everybody knows their place. Everybody knows what's going on. And I'm like, damn, man, this is wild. Because I used to be that guy running crazy. Now, listen, yeah, if I show up at, I still show up at least around about 7 o'clock. But some days if I don't want to show up until 8, 9, it's okay. I know it's handled. And look, it doesn't even, it got to the point where, look, it took for a little minute for the guys because they would call me and say, hey, what do you think about this? And so Steve kind of taught me how to redirect the question to him and kind of say, hey, well, what would you do? And then I'd make them give me my answer. And they'd tell me, well, I think we ought to do this and this. Okay. Sounds like, in my mind, I didn't tell them, well, let's see if you fuck up or not. But, in my mind, I was like, hey, let's make the decision. Sounds like you already know what's going on. So make the decision. And look, chances are, listen, if a guy's confirming to you, oh, hey, I think we ought to do this. Look, he knows what he wants to do. He knows what the deal. They kind of it's kind of a reverse psychology type of thing. I think in a way, but they want the assurance that hey, they got my approval. But listen, you already got my approval. I put you in that position to run the company, so you've already got my approval. So do your job. That's it. But they still want that. Hey, yeah, you don't. So, but now it just. It's running itself. It's a weird thing to experience, and it's a weird thing to actually. Now I'm sitting back and I'm like, wow, that's crazy. You change up a few things and look stress wise. Oh yeah, 10 times less stress than I was. Well,
I'll say this about us. So like with Brand in the studio, I have been delegating more things to Brand, and Brand's been taking care of more of the in-office stuff, and even delegating things to Duncan with the video production side and all. And like usually, I will say like within the past 2 weeks, like basically since we had that conversation, I haven't like stayed up till like 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning working on shit and doing shit. Like I haven't had to.
Come on, you figured out that if you do work shit during the day,
nah, it's not like that.
Man,
no,
come
no,
on,
no,
man.
No,
I mean,
no,
I can't believe that's a thing.
But
damn, bro.
But like even though like I'll text Brand and all, and Brand like I'll say like, hey, what do y'all need anything from me, or do y'all know what y'all need to be doing right now? And I haven't got no. We actually need a no or something probably in a good while. So I mean, it's right. It's the right way to go. It's the right way to grow.
Well, it is. You could be. It's because it's scalable at that point. You can delegate the responsibilities, and if each of your supervisors, managers, I don't get really worked up about. I don't care what you call them, as long as you call them something civil.
I always thought titles are silly.
Yeah, but you have in any business. I don't care what business it is. It's 3 minimum departments, and the revenue generation, also called sales. I don't use sales because everyone thinks sales is easy, and it happens like that. It doesn't. It takes a lot of work. So we got revenue generation, we got operations, which is the folks that deliver our product or service, whatever it is, and we have our finance department. And they keep score, whether we're making money or losing money. That's what the finance department is.
See, we said that multiple times in this podcast, just in a way dumber way.
Yeah.
You explained it for her.
Yeah. And so operations has to understand what the costs are so that we can make money. Revenue generation has to understand what our costs are so we can make money. If only finance department understands what our costs are, guaranteed you're going to lose money, because revenue generation, they want to get closes. They want to get secure jobs. Okay? If they don't understand what the profit is on it, they can't help you. When we deliver our product or service, if ops doesn't understand what our costs are, they just want to get it delivered regardless, then at the end you're going to go, man, how come we're not making no money? And it's because we don't understand what our costs are. Had a great opportunity to help a second and third generation underground contractor out in Maine. Wonderful. They had the dad's second generation. He had 2 sons in the office, third generation, and they made 1 cent on the dollar. And so I go, okay, well, then pick 3 of your most profitable jobs this last year. I don't care. Pick 3 of your most profitable jobs. They all did. I said, now, with those jobs, you each have to tell me how much it cost you to perform those jobs. And the great part about this was the youngest son ratted out the dad by saying, Dad hasn't updated his costs for 10 years on materials.
Oh, shit.
So their $22,000 job that they thought they made a killing on, they wrote a $1,500 check at the end. So they lost $1,500. Okay.
And they didn't update it in 10 years. That's crazy.
And so at that point, he goes, okay, what do we got to do? I said, okay, how many jobs are you getting? He goes, we get almost every one of them. I said, you get almost every job that you bid. He said, yeah, we're over 90%. I said, okay, you're either selling to family or you're selling too cheap. Which is it?
Told us the same thing.
Yeah. And he looked at me like I was nuts, and I said, you're either selling to family or you're selling too cheap. So he goes, okay.
We updated our prices.
You got to stick to it when you update it.
Yeah, you
and
do.
not offer a discount when somebody hems and haws about it.
Yeah. The in revenue generation, if you don't believe in your price, you've lost. And that's why I say very confidently that I have no problem telling folks I charge $1,000 an hour, because I know I bring at least $2,000 of an hour value in my life experience that I can share with folks. Now, that's not what the company that I work for charges, but when I decided I was going to go into consulting on my own, that's what I would charge, because I believe that value, and I know my value of what I've learned.
I like Mr. C.
Yeah, no.
I like Mr. C.
Tell me this though.
Yeah.
I'm genuinely curious. Have you ever not necessarily consulting, but because I'm guessing you probably have to sign like an NDA or some type of non-compete that you're not gonna just, if you were to quit. I don't know what y'all got going on. It's none of our business. It's none of our business. At the end of the day, what I'm saying is have you ever thought about like starting your own business that's like nothing to do with consulting, but just because shit, you go to 99 different businesses, you make them all succeed. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I've had other businesses moving through life, but consulting has always been
the number one.
Consulting, coaching, it's always been a real passion of mine, and eventually, I'll have my own.
I like that. No, I was just genuinely curious, just because I don't know, I feel like you can make any company succeed just because of your basic foundation of knowledge that you know.
Yeah, and and I don't want anyone to misconstrue this next statement. This isn't ego. This isn't pride. This is just fact. With the simple principles that I teach to everybody, there's not a business I can walk into, whether it's, I don't care, an architect to a zoo, it doesn't matter, that is under 50 million in revenue that I can't run better than the owner does right now, without a doubt. There's not one I can walk into that.
Why you chose 50 million as that cap?
Because that's medium size. There's plenty of businesses that are bigger than that are jacked up the way they run, but that's I believe that's the IRS definition of the top end for medium sized business.
I would like to know what would be your hardest struggle with going into companies, and like just all around, like what's your hardest thing enable like to get these guys to understand what you're trying to portray to them?
I can tell you one thing.
Is it a kickback?
Oh, absolutely.
Is that what it is?
Backlash, the kickback. Listen, I wasn't going to say, look, I told you, there was a few aspects of our, that went really well because I kind of prepped a few of them. Some of the guys and some of the people on one end, hey, listen, I hit them cold. I didn't even tell them this was going on. I just kind of, oh, hey, I need you to come run by the office real quick. And then Mr. Steve and his team just kind of went into, there was like actually, Mr. Steve wasn't here at the time yet. They shipped Mr. Steve in later. There was like 3 guys, okay?
Oh, they had other people here before
Oh, listen, it was the craziest, look.
They must have sent in the big dogs.
No, listen, when I tell you this was the craziest experience, because like when we really got it kicked off and we started going at it, there was like 3 or 4 people here.
Yeah, they sent in the goldfish.
Well,
and then
yeah,
they
so
saw what was going on, so they had to send in the shark.
Listen, we had like a 3-day crash course. And it was just like boom, 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 so much information. And I kind of just brought the other side of people over, and I was like, hey, come see. I need you to come sit at the office for a second. And they walk in, and it was like there's 3 of these guys in suits and shit and just doing all their thing. And they were like, what's going on? I'm like, oh, just listen. This is going to be good. And then it was just like their world was just like,
fireworks going
oh, dude, it was crazy. Like, and then, but now they understand. They were like, yeah, I think if you'd have coached us into doing this, we'd have kind of had more of a backlash, but I kind of just sprung it on them. They had no choice. Because I guarantee, listen, if I talk to their wives, I guarantee after their wives would be like, oh, yeah, they were
pissed.
They were talking shit when they came home. They were probably cursing me, I'm sure.
They said Mr. Steve was a bitch.
No, I'm sure, listen. I was surprised. I didn't get as much backlash, and I'm sure, like I said, they probably went home and was like, oh, my God, I don't know what's going on. I'm ready to quit this job. But they saw the value in it after. After we started, in the money we were saving, in the calculations and the metrics that we were putting in, they saw the value. And Mr. Steve can attest, like, look, it's the craziest thing. Once the blinders came off, I was able to step back. I was able to see how my team was operating. We were able to catch mistakes and different things of, old school accounting, so to say. I use that term loosely, but yeah, I'm going to throw that in there. And whoever thinks that offensive, whatever, fuck them. It doesn't even matter. Straight up, listen.
Going crazy.
No, I'm not. But listen, I've had to do this for 6 months, and it is what it is. So don't have old school accounting in your business. That's what you don't want. You want the new updated accounting.
Usually I'm the one talking shit.
No, but I mean, listen. I don't even care. It doesn't even matter because you know what? I've had to spend a lot of money, but it was worth it. And Mr. Steve came in and listen, I'm going to be honest. Listen, at first, when we first started, I'm thinking, we're going to learn some stuff. No, listen, Mr. Steve knows his shit. And he knows, and look, I see him every day. And it's crazy the stuff I've learned. Well, honestly, listen, I'm not to pat myself on the back, but listen, it's kind of one of those eye-opening things like, damn, I really didn't. I mean, look, I knew kind of the general aspect of business. My grandpa taught me a lot. No, he did. Oh, yeah. Listen, my grandpa taught me a lot. But then when I sit back and I'm like, damn, there's so much I didn't understand that now, look, we weren't calculating all the different. I mean, that sounds silly. Look, and I'm sure there's going to be some people like, oh, dumbass. Well, yeah, you got to calculate this. No, but listen, hold on. Nobody gives you the hard knocks, so to say, book of business. There's a lot of different journeys and shit and different train wrecks or whatever you want to call it, tracks and shit you got to cross over that you don't even know that's coming and fixing to hit you. And then when those roadblocks come in and things, you're like, well, man, what do I do now? And look, we've had to navigate and by Mr. Steve's metrics and different things that their company puts in place and helps us kind of navigate. We've kind of, we hop right over them roadblocks. Like, all right.
It's almost like, I'm not going to say it's common sense, but it's almost like basic principles, right? That everyone should follow to be successful. And it's almost like you just come in there with a level head and it's like, come on, guys, let's just sit down and let's be reasonable about it here. Like, ask yourself this, and this, and that's why I feel like people like us, especially people like me and you, don't get caught on because we too big looking at the bigger picture. Let's do this, let's do that, let's make this happen, let's make this happen. And not to say that we don't like know our goals and know how to achieve them, right? But it's just those things get caught up, those small things add up and then it becomes a problem. Or
well, look, for instance, I'll tell you what you just brought up a second ago, and he just brought up about the profitability and that other company not realizing that they weren't charging. Look, we had a similar situation. Okay, we were doing these smaller jobs and in these different, I don't want to mention any specific business, but smaller jobs. Let's put it that way, smaller jobs. But we were charging a certain amount. Well, it became a point where, we got a little backlash, like, oh man, I can't believe we're charging that much, and it's like, well, listen, these cranes before, and that's the stuff we weren't calculating. Before these cranes even leave the shop, with your insurance and all the different things calculated in it, you don't realize how much it's costing you a month. But for each day, when you break it down per day, because that's what we're doing now.
And the crane didn't even leave the shop yet.
Yeah, the crane didn't even leave the shop, and you're like, oh, I'm about to make this much on the job. Well, we're losing money. So it gives you that perspective of. Not to say like, oh, that person's work's not important. It's just not beneficial to me anymore. Right. It becomes a thing of, well, listen, and I had to kind of self-aware and become self-aware and kind of realize, hey, we're doing big things with big equipment. We need to value this more. And that's what we weren't doing. We were thinking, hey, we're new at this. We want to get, but listen, our name's getting out there. We've built more of a clientele. And look, like Mr. Steve said, I want to be known for the quality guy, the quality aspect, not so much the cheapest price. That's not what I'm looking for.
Well, that was one of the first things when I met y'all and I came in here that I wanted to work with you on. You had asked me about the price. I was looking at your prices. What is this based off of? Because you had talked about, we only get this much per project. And I was like, why are you charging that much? Well, it would be too much to charge more than that. And it's like, well, let's look at how much are you paying each person hourly.
Well, that was more like the
sending out equipment.
And that's one of the most important parts about business is not only do you need to know your costs, you need to know what the perfect client is for you, and to identify what makes a good client, what makes a better client, what makes a perfect client.
Correct.
So it has to do with how they pay you, how they value you. What's your profitability, and some other things that you need to track to determine what your best market is. And when you start doing that, then it's natural to we refer to it as firing clients. A nice way to do it is you just price yourself out of what they can pay you, and that's a polite way to.
And we definitely did that. Don't get me wrong, but I feel like whenever we did that, it also caused like a little bit of animosity between some of these people. Like I know one lady hit me up and like she was used to our prices, and I was like, nope. I was like, this is not our prices anymore. We updated our prices. This is what it is. This is what we charge. She didn't even text me back.
Right.
Well, that's good. That means
that's
you got
good.
the hint.
And that was the goal, and it came out to, without going into what the project was, but we were putting all sorts of effort. And everybody's salaries were covered and bills were covered, but it was a $40 profit or like a $50 profit, which is that worth the time and effort when we could be putting that effort into another client that's $1,000 profit a week, is it even worth the time?
Yeah. Correct. And that's what all business owners have to look at. That they got to look at their how are they controlling their costs? Are they tracking their costs? Usually is the first question. And honestly, a lot of folks aren't.
It's a hard thing to do. Because we are trying to do it right now because of what you taught us, but it is a hard thing to do, to track your costs. Like, it's not just as simple as, hey, we've paid this for this and this for that. Like, because you also got to consider, all right, how much time did you spend on this project too?
Correct.
What did we incur? Do we have to use any of the softwares You know what I mean? So it's. I know you say like just tracking your costs, but I want the people to understand.
Well, there's a lot to it. It's a very simple principle. Doesn't mean it's easy.
Right.
Yeah, you have to, depending on what your business is, you've got employees, you got to track their hours, and it also needs to be fully burdened. You have to realize that if you provide insurance, vacation time, any of that extra stuff, that's on top of their hourly wage. A shortcut I share with a lot of folks is if you add $10 an hour for work comp, regular insurance, health insurance, and regular PTO, paid time off, which means 2 weeks a year, that will cover that burden, which a lot of business owners don't cover, and they wonder why they're not making any money. So
and what that is that basically adding like an extra $10 an hour to whatever your services are.
Well, no, whatever their wages are. So if someone's making, you're paying somebody $20 an hour, cost to you is really $30 an hour.
Correct. Okay.
And now, if you're in a more expensive work comp situation, then you're going to need to add additional monies to that. I mean, there's a calculation that's kind of boring. I'm not going to get into it.
So that's directly what I do at my job each day with contract labor. Is the laborers, we're getting paid $40 an hour. I'm just picking a number from the company, right? And then the laborers are getting paid $30 out of that hour. We need a $10 spread just to cover insurance, MEL, GL.
You heard that, Brand? Duncan knows how to cover all these things. We're about to have another task force.
To cover all of that, to make sure, and then the profit is whatever's left there. So people go, well, if they're paying you 40, why aren't you giving 40 to the workers? Well, because then we're making a negative because we have to pay all that insurance. That's the whole point of hiring us.
Correct. And you're in employee leasing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And so you provide a service for your clients that you probably have to spend a little bit of time educating them on all that you cover and the savings that they have by hiring through a service like that. They don't got to deal with work comp. They don't got to deal with injuries. And considering some of the folks that you've shared with me in the past, some of the industries that you serve, that's high work comp. Okay, it's a big expense. Big expense. The only thing I don't like about your business model is that your profit's not planned.
How do you mean?
You rattled off all your expenses, and then you say we're hoping for profit.
Oh, that was just a figure of speech.
Okay,
that is planned out.
Okay, good. Because
is it really though?
Yeah.
No.
Okay.
I would presume so in your industry that it is. The difference between hoped for profit and planned profit is one will actually happen, the other won't. Mm-hmm. Okay, so I'm a man of faith. I have no problem with faith, but hope is not faith. Faith requires action, and so profit to be materialized in a business takes a plan and it takes action.
I like how you said that faith requires action because there's a lot of people that don't understand that basic statement.
There's plenty of interpretations out there in regards to faith.
The way that I took it as like faith requires action is like you see these people on Facebook or whatever and they, God's going to make it all right, everything, blah, 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 or whatever. They have these problems or whatever. Well, are you doing the things that you need to do to make it to make it that way?
You never heard the old saying, you got hope in one hand and shit in the other. What you really got? You got a handful of shit. Yeah. That's what you got.
So it's just like that's why I was getting at with
the it's kind of like that story because even for the people who say, well, God's gonna make it all right. They have that story about the guy drowning and somebody comes over on a surfboard to help him. And he goes, no, God will save me. Kayak comes by, oh, God will save me. I don't need it. Boat comes by, God will save me, and he dies. And he gets up there and he's like, why didn't you save me? He said, well, I sent you a guy on a paddleboard. I sent you a guy on a kayak. I sent you a boat. What you want me to do?
Yeah. So it's like basically I was just taking it because like I know people that they'll say these things or whatever, but then they don't enforce no action.
Right.
And like I'm definitely a man of faith. I believe in a higher being, right? But I know that I still need to wake up every day and do what I need to do.
Right. And business owners have a lot of things they want to do in a day. If they will step back and delegate their responsibilities out, they can then be the captain of their own ship or plane or car, whatever. I don't care what the analogy is. Who is ultimately at the helm of the business? So Austin is finally at the helm of his business. And because of that, he's been exposed to
multiple opportunities.
Multiple opportunities. Because he's not buried in the day-to-day stuff. Same thing will happen to you, Nick, as you get more comfortable delegating responsibilities. You'll realize the value of your time.
Well, I've been seeing it. Like I've been kind of like staying out the office and letting them do their thing and letting them kind of figure out whatever they need to figure out. And I just touch base, and then I'm starting to come into meetings, and then now we got the other thing coming down. So me and him's about to be doing a whole, we about to be downstairs a whole lot more and not upstairs with everybody else. So I got confidence in Brad. Austin helped me get the way there, and Brad was.
I want the audience to know that's a hard task.
Brad had a smile from ear to ear, and then I came back in and I was like, "All right, Brad, you take it. Whatever you do, I'm gonna let you."
Yeah, and that's fine. The only question I have for you is then who's responsible to generate revenue?
Oh, it's still me.
Okay,
I'm still generating revenue for us.
Okay,
I'm still the one, but I am We did create a sales team too.
Okay, good.
Yeah,
good.
So
that's really important.
That brings up a question on valuing the intangible, and I know there could be arguments and wording
always.
on
Exactly.
the time is the tangible, but for a specific example, and this is one I struggle with when we're making our prices is, we talked about covering insurance and things like that. Talked about covering the hourly of the workers when you're sending them out there on a project. But one thing that I struggle with placing a price on is, for example, we do a job and we send our guys out to film. Well, you're covering the hourly of the guy, but how do you value something like the high-priced cameras here that it doesn't cost you something every time you break? So I accept depreciation, but how would you value it as, okay, what do we charge for these cameras? We're not going to charge them nothing for the camera equipment just
it's like a depreciation. That's why you use depreciation.
Yeah, you use the depreciation. What we do, if you want to know how we do it is back in the old days, and I hate that I'm saying on this podcast, so we might need to take this out.
It was like 20.
Well, no, I'm saying we might need, well, I'm saying the old days, like before my time, is cameras. They would have a picture counter. No, for real. Like
and before that, they had stone tablets. I remember I would watch the guys carve that stuff out.
I was about to say, what are you talking
you know
about?
what I mean? Like on the cameras, like you only had
sir.
a certain amount of times a device could take amount of pictures. So whenever I tell client, we got a mirrorless camera, so we don't have, I can take unlimited, you know what I mean?
Sure.
But like, well, we got a snap count, you know what I mean? That's what I tell.
It's no different than the equipment I got. You hold depreciate. It's basically you're extrapolating.
And then it gets outdated too. So I mean, you got to think you got to update.
We don't have a way to price that.
We do.
Now.
Yeah, we do. What you mean, Duncan?
We've gone on multiple film projects and
we charge $250 an hour, my dude.
Well, no, that's not what I said.
No,
I think what he's
I
getting
think-
at
yeah.
is you're not so look, for instance, when you go out on a job, like you're not breaking it down to the metrics of, hey, this camera costed X amount and breaking that down per. So basically,
are we not working on that, Brand? Is that not being done and worked on right
that's
now?
what I'm asking.
no,
about.
he was just asking the
That's
question
the
of the
point of
general.
asking.
Okay. Yeah.
Because listen, we weren't doing the same thing. Like, look, we would send the crane out for the job, but now we're breaking down. I mean, dude, it's wild. Like, I mean, obviously we're doing fuel, but I mean, you're breaking it down to the actual cost of every single little thing that goes into the
Pilot
crane.
that's gonna be down.
Well, I mean,
underneath it.
just whatever. I mean, down to the rigging. Like, look, I mean, I know it's going to sound silly to some people, but that was the things by being in the day-to-day hustle of the actual job. We weren't sitting back and saying, oh, well, it's the little things that you missed that you're not calculating that actually add up to be bigger costs at the end of the job. And then when you come back and you're like, well, damn, why's my cash flow not ending up the way it should be, or why damn, we're doing a lot of these jobs, but it doesn't seem like the revenues. Well, there you go. I mean, it's all the unaccounted things that actually are building up.
Because I do think we should charge different for, bring out the pocket versus bring the whole battle rattle, to a job.
Yeah, an easy way to account for it is to take whatever piece of equipment that you have, whatever the amount is, whether if it's being financed or that you purchase it for, and break that down to, you have typically 20 working days a month. So you take whatever that payment is, divided by 20, and that's how much you charge on a daily. That's you're tracking that as your cost, part of your cost.
Make sure we clip that so that we know to remember that, because that's actually, I like that, because we just had a client and they didn't ask. Usually, like our clients, they'll ask for like an estimate or something before we go on a job. Well, this one I know these guys have money, right? I know they got they do well for themselves.
Yeah.
And so I didn't even think about it. I was just like, all right, yeah, we can do it. We'll show up or whatever. Or we'll show up to the job, do the job or whatever. Send them the invoice, and the dude, emails me back, and I was like, hey man, like, what's up with this price? And I don't know what's going on. Like, help me help you. I don't really understand how it got. Some things caught me off guard on the pricing.
Sure.
And so then I had to go back and be like, look, dude, we had a $6,000 lens. We had a $3,000 camera. We had another $3,000 camera. We
But
had
you didn't even account for that they
50
didn't.
hours of
Yeah.
editing.
What about the
and-
mob
and
that it
filming?
took to get? Like, look, that's what we lacked a lot in the mob fees from point A to point B.
Yeah, we didn't even charge fuel. We didn't
Fuel-
charge
well,
fuel. We
see,
didn't
And
charge
this
fuel
job
Friday.
is the specific reason why I'm
Yeah.
asking.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so you have to. So first of all, never do a job where no one knows the price.
And I felt bad too because like he was like, well, I just assumed or whatever. I was like, well, I assumed that you knew our prices because y'all didn't call us for the last event that y'all had. That whenever I gave y'all our prices and y'all was like, damn, these are our prices now, and then y'all kind of like gave the job to somebody else.
Right.
And then look, I hate to say this, but the job that they gave to that other person did not come out good at all. They didn't get nearly the same results. I can go show the videos compared to the videos we made them before compared to his video. Oh my God, it's a world of just
and that's what you have to. So in revenue generation, there's a whole lot of education for the clients, especially in your field, more so than, well, it's probably equal in all fields, to be completely honest. You have to spend time educating them on what the costs are associated with your equipment, travel, all those things, insurance. There's Austin on the cranes. I'm making these faces because
it's disgusting.
We spend an inordinate amount of money, which no one's going to guess out there, and I'm not going to say how much it is, but a month on insurance. What the spend on insurance by month is typically what a lot of companies spend annually. I'm just going to leave it at that. So back to educating your clients, it's important for them to understand what you're providing. So you can do your quotes a myriad of different ways, okay? You can list the folks that are going to be out there. You can list the equipment that's going to be out there. You can list it as an hourly rate and then put a total. The worst thing you can do is say, yeah, I'll do that for you and not give someone a price because you're just opening up that either one way or the other. They're either going to be too expensive or too cheap. Pick which one. That's the problem you're going to have. Make sure everyone gets a quote and make sure you make money on every quote unless you want to buy a job from the competition or you're wanting to get your foot in the door of a particular industry. Right. And then you have to make an educated guess on what the profitability is over time. But you can't go in there blind.
Right.
You want to know that you're going to lose money, and it is a choice as opposed to, well, we just didn't know. So that's a huge thing, and
so it's more like
training,
a strategical move.
Well, you got to educate your customers. Absolutely got to educate them, and
yeah, well, like you said before to us, what you don't know, you don't know.
Correct.
So like I'll be honest with you right here with like our industry specific. Some people just think, oh, what it is? You just got two guys with a camera and y'all coming in.
Well, you may tell you what I think
yeah,
it is.
you want to know what?
No, but you may tell you what I think it is. It's because of the access.
Yeah.
Look, we got iPhones with extraordinary
too.
cameras now. Look, the new ones. I mean, it's just crazy the shit they're coming out with. So everybody thinks they're a photographer with an iPhone.
Photographer or videographer.
But yeah, well, so they think, oh well, yeah. Well, I mean, look, I could just take this picture on my phone. Yeah, of course you can. But you know, when you get the comments of the movie style quality or different things, it takes a little more than an iPhone to get the editing and the movie style quality.
Not even the comments or movie style quality.
People say, hey, I could do this on my phone. You say, okay, then do it. And and see if you could make the same product. If you can, good for you. You're an exceptional individual. If not,
the thing is that it just doesn't. It doesn't. They don't get no return on whatever they're doing.
That's what I wanted to bring up next.
That's the problem
the
with
return, and I want to get you out of that mentality of the customer's return on it. Because look at it this way, and I brought up this example to you and other people before. We're in the business, maybe not with the marketing side, but when it comes to film production, we're in the business of making a product. What they do with that product, how much they make off it, has nothing to do with us when it comes to video production. If they want a wedding video, they're not going to make any money off of that. That's for them to have, for them to just look at. You charge the same amount for going there 4 hours filming and doing the same level of editing for a wedding video as you would do making a video of the same quality for a company. It's still a 4-hour video, right? It's still edited to the same quality. Now, if you're editing more for the company because there's more to it, that you charge more, but it's still the same price. And wedding videos aren't cheap.
Correct.
A wedding videographer, and it just sits in a drawer.
And my thing is to where it correlates is making the client understand, hey, this is gonna make you this much money. I know you're paying this much right now, but over a time span, you know.
And that's where you switch to the marketing side of it.
Yeah,
and it's not just film production.
Yeah, I don't know.
I was thinking more of a YouTube. I was thinking more YouTube specific right there with that
all
one.
right, then
that one's
that'll get you.
monetized. Yeah,
Okay,
that's
yeah,
what.
it's monetized,
In that
absolutely.
specific comment that I made, that was towards YouTube. What he's talking about right now wasn't towards YouTube.
But I mean, even in the YouTube factor, if you make the same quality video, you charge the same. It's based on the video quality. Now, if they want us to get into the marketing and pushing side on that video,
Well, that's what I was getting back to. What he said,
aspect.
everybody has an iPhone and whatever,
Yeah.
but how many people can make something or make that piece of content and then push it to the correct target audience that you want to be seen by?
Well, so since we're talking about iPhones, let's just take a step back. How do they advertise the cameras on the iPhones? What is one commercial that each of you remember vividly about iPhone over the years it's been out?
I think I remember that one that they always pick it up and like they always like going to the next scene or whatever. Brant, go.
Okay, they shoot it on an iPhone. What else?
I didn't. Yeah, that's what I was talking about. Yeah, whenever they pick
Okay,
it,
all right.
they picking up the iPhone and then going to like the next scene of the next person.
Okay,
And that's so
all
yeah.
right. Okay, I vaguely remember that. What about you, Austin? What do you remember?
I mean,
How did they market the iPhone? That's what you're
How
asking.
they market the
By the camera,
I know,
1,000%.
and that's what I'm asking, because there's a and I'll let Austin and y'all answer. They're marketing as a tool that anyone can use.
Yes. Okay.
yeah.
All right.
Yep.
And so, what is? Do you have a vivid memory? I guess I'm really old school because I have a couple of them that I remember when they were advertising the phones.
I mean, the only thing I would say is like at every commercial of the iPhone, it's always people taking selfies and whatnot. And they kind of, it's just, it's kind of, I guess, very accessible.
Okay, exactly, very accessible. What about you?
I generally skip over iPhone commercials because I know I'm just going to get the next one. But, or maybe not the one coming out, but I know when I upgrade, it's going to be iPhone. But generally just the commercials of it, like usually panning on the screen and going like this, and they explain the camera. And
It's
stuff like
always
that,
focused around the camera. It's
Yeah,
always.
exactly, yeah, because it's a tool, and Apple's a lifestyle brand. The two that stand out in my simple mind is they had one with a hummingbird where they filmed it in slow mo.
Mm-hmm.
You can see
I
the
did
beautiful
see that.
colors.
I did see
And then
that.
they had another one with a bee where they did it in slow mo also.
I think I've seen the B one too, actually.
And those two stand out. So what they're telling folks is with that tool, they can create movie quality pictures and video. Now, your responsibility is to say, yes, you can. Do you have the expertise? We have the expertise to actually deliver that kind of product.
And keep them engaged.
Yeah.
That's the other thing too.
Yeah. And so with technology, I mean, and like I said earlier, I'm 62. I'll be 63 later this month. I predate personal computers. All right. I'm a tech guy. I love technology. I've used PDAs, personal digital assistants, since they came out because I hate paper. Okay. I love trees. They can make great houses out of them. We plant them like any other crop, but paper, man, it's not my friend. And so any way I can get around that, I do. But technology now is to the point where they're selling stuff. You can do this at this level of quality. So they're convincing folks that they can produce that kind of, and there's loads of folks on YouTube and TikTok. Goodness sakes, that's where most of that content comes from, right? Okay, there's a select few that actually do some production and all other stuff. That's where you all have to, in my not so humble opinion, where you all have to start carving out your niche, is that we are this higher level of quality, and for that comes a cost. You can't get a Mercedes for a Yugos price.
Yeah, but it's a Honda price.
Yeah. Okay. There's a reason why a McLaren is $200,000-$300,000, and a Taurus is $30,000. Okay. You have to educate your clientele. That's the expertise we bring into.
And the truth is, like, their advertising is you can do it yourself, but what they don't tell you is it was a professional, highly paid, highly trained editor.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that's where the education comes in for you and your staff. Part of your plan, I would submit, is that we provide exceptional editing to achieve movie quality work, and it. And yes, there's going to be folks that will pay for that, and there's going to be folks that won't pay for that. Wedding stuff, good grief, yeah. There's folks will spend $50,000, $100,000, couple $100,000. Bezos, what he spent what, $30 million on his wedding or something like that.
So many people, everybody gets in. I feel like that's like the main role. If like you're a videographer, right? Yeah. Then you either go as like you're either in real estate or your wedding. Yeah. Like, and I'm like, man, we don't need to be put into a niche. We go on video a wedding in March. We could do a great job for them. It's gonna come out better than any other wedding videographer in these areas. Right. I watch the wedding videography videos that get produced by these people that's professionals in these areas. Sure. Bro, they are ass. I'm talking about like, no, I'm not even joking. And I'm very confident in saying that.
That's
like
fine.
I feel bad. Fine. I feel bad for these couples that pay these people thousands of dollars to get this shit product. Yeah. And I'm looking at the wedding video and I'm like, they're like, oh, look at so and so just did our wedding video and look at it. And I'm watching it. I can't even watch the first 30 seconds of it because it's so. I'm watching the camera shake. They're obviously not using the gimbal. I'm watching. The exposure is off on one spot. I'm just watching just bad cutting and stuff. And I'm just like, y'all paid how many thousands of dollars for this shit ass product?
Well, I think so many people do weddings because you don't need a whole team. You don't need a whole facility to do it. You just need your camera and a laptop to do it to the basic level. But then you got people who are passionate about it, and that's like all they do.
Don't charge $4,000 to $6,000, $8,000. Don't charge these crazy prices and claim that you're a professional wedding videographer. Charge $500 and bring your iPhone like you really want to do, right? Yeah. That's all I'm saying. Like, cause like that just disgusts me whenever I see that, and I see people that, cause I ask people, I'll be like, I reached out to a couple people. I was like, hey, how much you pay? Who did your video and how much you paid for that? I'm just curious. I just want to know, and they'll tell me like a disgusting number. Like, and I hold my tongue because obviously I don't want to ruin this bride or this groom's. You know,
that's why we didn't
their day that way. I don't want to ruin their day by letting them know, like, hey, you just paid for fucking shit. Like at the end of the day, that's what it is.
Well, and so when you video a wedding, you need to have clips of that on your website where you're pointing out the stillness of the picture, the exposure. Because again, you got to educate folks. Okay, we're so used to. I reach down because that's usually where my phone is, down here, flipped upside down. Folks are just used to using that, and they'll put up with, a little bit of this, a little bit of that, and they don't understand the difference. And that's where differentiating yourself, educating your client will provide increased profitability and increased satisfaction with the folks that seek out your services. You got to educate them, okay?
Yeah, like this, we're doing a wedding in March, and honestly, it's for a friend, so we didn't charge our real legit prices, right?
That's fine.
But we going like above and beyond for them, and we're gonna produce like some crazy wedding stuff where I'm doing it for a cheaper price than what these other people even charging to do their regular normal services. And I'm going to throw this out there on the internet and be like, this is what a wedding video should consist of, and this is what it should look like. No matter if it's what kind of vibe you're going for, if you want a more girly vibe, if you have a certain theme you want to look for, it don't matter. But this is the quality you should have, right?
Yep. And remember, break it down to TikTok timed clips where you can point out very important things. Because remember, we're dealing with folks. If you're under 40, you have the attention span less than a goldfish.
But
And what's the attention span of a goldfish?
like 3 or 4 seconds or something like that, or half a second?
Anybody got any other guesses?
I don't really know.
It's like a half a second, I thought, or something like that.
Quarter of a second.
Quarter of a second, yeah.
0.25. We have because of
Damn, Nick, you're part goldfish. That's crazy.
No, we have less.
Giving 'em a
We have
lot of
less
credit.
attention than goldfish.
Yeah, I was about to say.
because of dopamine that we get from every time we scroll. Everyone's addicted to that. The best place to see that is airports and people walking across the street. They don't even look up. They just walk out, hope they don't get hit. Actually, they're not paying attention that people don't run over them. And when they're in airports, they're just as dumb. I mean, they'll stop at the end of escalators, stop in the middle with hundreds of folks moving around them.
I know you fed up with airports.
I mean, good grief, I'm there twice a week.
Yeah.
Every Friday, every Sunday, I'm in an airport. I'm on a plane.
You know what I was thinking? To go back to the little spiel that you just had, we get the same kind of deal on what. Look, this is what we get. Okay, now it takes the same amount of personnel, motion, fuel, whatever it does to do a small job as it does a big job. Now, so obviously, a bigger job takes more equipment, the counterweights and whatnot. But for instance, this is what we get a lot. Well, man, it's only like 200 pounds, and you're going to charge me this much? Well, and then my response is, well, then if it's only 200 pounds, just carry it to where it needs to go.
Just lift it up. You could deadlift.
Oh, we can. It's got to go X amount of feet. Okay, so it's out of your ramifications of what you can handle. So that means you're relying on a bigger piece of equipment. Now, it doesn't matter if it's 50 pounds. If it's got to go 200 and some feet in the air, obviously you don't have nothing to get 200 foot in the air. So, you know what I'm saying? It's weird. Like, I guess the human mind's weird. Like, look, people don't understand they don't value your equipment as much as you value it, I guess you would say.
Everybody at the end of the day, too, like basic human construct, right? Everybody wants a deal. Everybody wants to feel good about whatever they're using or whatever service or whatever they're buying. Look, me, perfect example of this. Look, new diamond bracelet. You want to know what the tag said on this motherfucker whenever I saw it in the jewelry store? No, being for real.
What?
$16,000. I can promise you this. I didn't pay $16,000. You want to know why? Because I have a badass jeweler that gives me badass deals because I continue to do business with him. But it's just like,
how long is that one going to last on your hand?
oh, forever. This ain't going nowhere.
Yeah, you better say.
But it's just like, but it's a perfect example though.
That is a perfect example.
I felt good. I felt good about this, about it,
right?
And I want to continue to use them because
Correct.
I feel like they're giving me a deal.
Correct. And that's a perfect example of factoring into your price whatever discounts you want to give.
Yeah, honestly.
Okay.
Well, the reason that I'm hard, I just like to be. I'm a nice guy. I'm a people pleaser.
Right.
I'm a nice guy. I'm a people pleaser, and then I can be a dick whenever I need to be a dick. Right? Like I definitely can. But like if I'm trying to make money and like I'm trying to, I'm an overly nice guy. I'm trying to please whoever I'm trying to get some. Right?
And it's just negotiating 101. If you know that your clientele is going to haggle, then you have to understand what your walkaway price is and what your starting price is. They're not the same.
Right.
Okay. So if I know someone's going to beat me up, I always factor in a haggle price. If they're a pain for me to deal with, I always factor in a pain in the butt price.
See, dude, he does.
Okay.
He's doing it. You doing it completely opposite of what like we thinking like over here. Like, oh, all right, I guess we gotta give him a fucking discount because they go bitch if we don't.
This is we. This is we.
Hey,
This is
you know,
you thinking that.
Because remember, if you truly believe in the value of your service, then you will make sure you charge that price at a minimum. So if you know you're gonna haggle with somebody, and they typically want a $5,000 discount, great. Your walkaway price is $10,000. So I would submit you start your price being at $18,000.
Right.
Okay, just don't add the $5,000 to it. You need a little bit of wiggle room on top. And so, as they beat you down, know at what price you're gonna say, well, I can't do it for any less than this.
And that's why cars have sticker price,
Yeah.
because they know you're going to haggle, and the sticker price is always higher than what they're actually going to sell it at.
Yeah, yeah, and well, yeah, kind of. New cars, the salesmen don't make as much money as they do on used cars, and I'm just going to leave that at that.
That is
Why
true.
they call them a used car
Yeah.
salesman.
Yeah, and I'm not going to. No, there's just more profit in a used. Well, there can be more profit in a used car, but I'm not going any farther with that.
Well, I just thought. I'm guessing because you have clients in that industry or something along
I have
those.
clients in every industry,
Okay,
just
okay.
about. But yeah, no, I'm not gonna. There's some things. It boils back to what you believe what is your price. Okay, with anything, crane services, videography, used cars. I don't care what it is. If you don't believe the value that you're providing, if I don't believe the value that I have in my 62 years of life experience, and the businesses I've been a part of, the bad partnerships I've been a part of, all the things that I've learned through the School of Hard Knocks. If I don't believe that comes at $1,000 an hour, then I shouldn't charge that. But I totally believe it, and I actually believe it. My value is even higher than that. So you have to believe in your price.
You want to hear a funny story? And obviously, I'm not going to throw the numbers out or whatever, but it was kind of funny. So when we first negotiated and we're talking, well, say this is when they come in and say, hey, this is what, while I look at that, I'm like, wait, do what? This is how much?
Oh, you talking about for the prices? they
Yeah,
said?
so wait, he comes in and they start throwing numbers, and I'm like, well, I'm like, fucking down, I'm sweating. I'm like, oh shit, this is gonna be well, okay. And well, I'm kind of like, man, all right. And then now, obviously 6 months down the road, paying those prices, weekly, whatever, doing this thing is like,
Oh fuck! I saved that much money.
Well, no, hold on, no, but no. Don't get me wrong. I'm not taking away from it. It's a lot.
No, I'm saying you saved.
No, but yeah, but now, look, I'm in a better spot. And then also, when we write those checks now, I'm like, I mean, it's still the same amount of money that it was before, but now I'm like,
You're way more comfortable.
I'm like, oh shit, okay, here you go, Mr. Steve. Like, before I was like, Mr. Steve, he grabbed him, I'm like, I'm like, oh, damn it. But now it's kind of like, oh, here you go.
Yeah.
I mean, he's right. Look, I'm gonna give them their props. And look, when I was first told, look, their sales guy that come around to kind of pitch the idea, and I was just like, But then when I sat back and, certain situations arose, and I'm like, shit, I do need some help to get this shit back on track. And, now, hey, he's right. The value is there. They definitely have a value to what they do and what they preach. And
how did you even find them?
It was a sales guy. I don't remember his name. Damn, I wish I could
random?
I wish I could give him his shout out, but
No, like I'm saying, like they just randomly.
no,
like,
he
go to
stopped it.
businesses
No,
and
so
stuff?
So listen, this is how this become. I guess he had seen our Facebook post and we were getting some traction and kind of y'all putting the marketing out. So, Patriot was becoming a thing, and people were starting to realize, well, from a friend of his said, man, did y'all see, such and such what Austin's doing, or what mentioned me? So he comes find me at the office and he says, I hear y'all, getting traction and y'all becoming, the word on the street, y'all getting some traction and size to y'all. I'm like, oh, that's cool to hear. He kind of pumped me up a little bit, but I'm sitting there, I'm like, yeah, okay. And so we're sitting and talking. He's like, well, I mean, I think my company could be beneficial to you. And I'm thinking, okay, well, what is he talking about? And we started talking about entity restructuring and different liability deals and different stuff to where, you don't think as a small business at this point. But then he's like, well, look, a lot of times when we implement these things, we take you from a small business to the next level. I'm like, fuck, I want to get to the next level. So, at first I thought it was bullshit. I pushed him off for probably a couple months. No, listen, I pushed him off. I'm serious. I just said, it's, whatever. Dude, when I tell you, when I found the first bit of negligence and shit that I found, You know the first fucking phone call I made was to his sales. I said, "Hey, get your team over here. I need some shit. I need this. I like this, man. I can't believe I'm even saying this shit, but damn, I need some help in this deal."
So wait, y'all based out of,
So our headquarters is in Chicago.
but y'all just have team of people pretty much everywhere.
Yeah. There's there's
Probably talk to a Louisiana-based salesman. Probably.
yeah. We have a local sales manager, and then when Austin says, "Okay, send your guys in," Jerry Weisberg is the project manager. He got here. I unfortunately, at my last project that I had just finished, I had air travel issues, so I couldn't get here the day of. I got here the night of, and so I came in on day 2. So,
But listen, when I tell you they had like 3 or 4 guys the next day,
yeah,
and I was like, look, it kind of shocked me because I'm like, oh shit,
that's how we roll.
I said, oh shit, they oh no, listen, they swarm you, and I'm like, oh shit, we're doing this. This is a thing, and then they start, this is what the price. Like, oh shit, we're doing this.
It kind of brings in that kind of like that. Hey, this is the confidence that we have that we about to show you that we.
Well, absolutely. And when a client says that we need help or we want help, then we're typically there the next day, maybe the day after, but usually we're there the next day. And in this case, Jerry would have brought along Keith, our tax attorney, and so. And then typically the consultant is there with them. Again, I had flight trouble. I didn't get there till the evening or late afternoon. I don't know. That's part of air travel and travel difficulties. That's just part of life.
Yeah.
So it's nothing on the
Look,
airlines.
Nobody's mad at you about that. Yeah. Look, I'll tell you what. Since you didn't make it that first day, shit, you get a discount, huh?
Yeah. There actually there was the one before I didn't get there until the afternoon of as well. Actually all of them. I've only had three projects in 2025, and I was not there at the opening of any of those 3. I came in afterwards. So that's just the way the travel cookie crumbles sometimes.
That's what I was saying. They call in the big sharks after, they send in the guy calling the big dogs.
Yeah. So, but you have to be willing. Let me rephrase that. You have to believe in your price, the value that you bring. If you don't, you've lost. Absolutely lost. And there's a ton of very talented folks in all kinds of industry that are passionate about what they do, but they don't believe that they can charge that much.
Is that why a lot of businesses fail?
Absolutely. Yeah, they don't understand how much it costs them. They don't understand how undervalued their product is.
Well, look at all the guests we've had on here, different business owners who talked about coming up and everybody's saying, doubting them, saying, hey, what are you doing that's not worth it? Of course you're going to come up thinking like, can I really charge that? Is it worth it? Because everybody's told you the whole time you're building it that you ain't shit, So I guess that's probably one of the big things you deal with is getting people to switch that mindset.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
absolutely. You got to believe in the value you bring or your company brings, the talent that your people have, and the value that they can provide. Absolutely.
I like that. Did you want to mention what your company's name is?
Yeah,
or?
That's up to you. I mean, I don't.
I didn't want to get you in no trouble or nothing.
International Development Services, IDS.
So are y'all like a national company, I would assume?
Yeah, we're the largest small to medium business consultants in North America. So we serve Canada and the United States.
Damn, you found getting in with the right people.
Look, hey.
I'd say they're an international company.
Well, no, look, like I said, it was a crazy experience. Like it all, and look, and this is the craziest part about it. So the guy was persistent. I give him that. Listen, he come talk with me, and then like I blew him off for a couple months, and then I hadn't heard from him in a while. Well, then it just so happened he had stopped by again, kind of around the time I forgot I said I called him, but I did reach out to a number, but he did stop in like right around the time, like he just timed it right. Like some shit was starting to pop off and craziness we were discovering. And then he so happened to pop in, and I was like, he said, well, look, I'm gonna leave another card in. Let me know. And then that's when another whammy happened. I was like, oh shit, oh yeah, give me this card. Like he had just stopped in, and then shit happened the next day, and I was like, oh yeah, I'm calling this guy. I mean, I don't even know what this all entails or what am I signing up for, but I tell you what, I wouldn't. Hey, look, I wouldn't change it. I would if I would do it again. I should have did it sooner if I'd have known.
And I mean, just from being around you, I feel like whenever you make a decision, you're like ready to make that decision right then and there. So you must have been pretty confident about that. Like,
well, I think now, the tools and the mindset that they've kind of given me, so to say, it's put me in a different place. It's made me more aware of what I have going on in the business, and like he said, the biggest thing is trusting in your people. I mean, hell, if you can't trust in them, then you're wasting your time and your money. I mean, look, I didn't. The biggest thing was delegating. Like literally, when I told you for the first 3, he would laugh.
Yeah.
He would laugh because like, look, I was like antsy. I was like, no, I got to go on this job. He's like, no, come here. Like, all right, well, dude, I said, man, if I'm gonna do this, I gotta just I gotta make sure I wear shit that I can't even go on a job. Like, man, I come in sweatpants, my tennis shoes, and like basically the shit I'd go work out. Matter of fact, I would go work out, and then I would just change here and do all my things because that way I made sure I can go on a job. I had to keep myself busy. I'd have to I would say, you know what, I'm gonna go ride to the house, just get out of here for a minute. So I didn't. So by the time everybody would go on a job, I would already be. I wouldn't be at the shop. It's crazy.
Is that one common thing that you see through like all business owners? They have that kind of like what Austin was just talking about. They
hard to let go.
Still. Well, no,
absolutely.
not even that about the delegate. Like he already kind of explained that, but like I'm just talking about as far as like just the energy and momentum that they carry with themselves to just make things happen and go and move on to the next project.
Yeah, everyone's a little different. There's some folks that are more laid back, but that doesn't mean they don't have a sense of urgency. It just most folks that own a business, that run a business, they have a sense of urgency and they have a sense of I need to accomplish things. Everyone goes about things a little differently. We're all a little different, and that's fine. But yeah, giving up control is tough for just about every business owner.
Well, I feel like that's one of the reasons that people get into businesses so they can control
whatever
they do.
That's the idea. They want to control their own destiny. The mistake they make, though, thinking that they have to make every decision, and when you do that, you limit yourself. And by being able to scale your business by delegating, that allows you so much more freedom to where you're open to more opportunity.
Look, half those other deals wouldn't have presented themselves.
Exactly.
I mean, it's crazy. We talk about this every day, but
Yeah.
it's just wild.
Yeah,
It really is.
And so every business owner has to come to that realization that, yeah, it's their business, but they need to empower their staff so that they can grow their company. And if you're not willing to do that, then you're going to limit yourself to probably about 3 million, maybe 4 million if you're lucky, depending on the industry. But you're really going to start limiting yourself because then you're required to make every decision for everything for everybody.
Then you're pretty much capped out.
And then you're going to tap yourself out. I mean, a lot of folks say, I can handle 10 reports, I can handle 15 reports. No, you can't, because you're not allowing yourself any time to actually guide your business, to be at the helm of your business. You need to be able to focus on the political issues for whatever industry you have, the economic issues. You need to be able to deal with the social issues and the technological issues. SWOT's easy, strengths, opportunities, but most folks don't think about pest. And you can Google this, and you can see all kinds of little cool diagrams and whatnot. And it's very important that the business owner actually guides the business. That doesn't mean you make every decision. You're deciding what your goals are going to be for 1 year, 3 year, 5 year, 7 year, 10 year, 13, and on. Businesses, you should have an infinite mindset. That's a direct relation to a book by Simon Sinek, The Infinite Game. I highly recommend it to anybody in business. Simon's got 3 great books. If you want to learn about leadership, read his books. Leaders Eat Last, fantastic book on leadership. Understanding Why, fantastic for leadership and understanding things. Get his 3 books, read them, and then and there's a myriad of other books. Extreme Ownership we've talked about, fantastic book by Jocko and Liff. They take their battlefield experiences and then help us understand the principles behind them. And all these books, I can go on and on and on about a bunch of other books.
I think Brand actually said that he was reading that one.
He's going through that one. Yeah.
He said it was crazy. He said that they were talking about like being in a hole, shooting an RPG at somebody, and then correlating. Well, you said it would correlate that to like how they do their business diagram or whatever. And
exactly. Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
That's kind of wild.
Yeah. It's fantastic. It's a fantastic book, and how you can draw parallels through what they teach in the military and how leadership is to how we can make it practical in business. The biggest thing is you have to trust your folks, but you have to have defined expectations and defined responsibilities. If they're not, and by defining it means they got to be written down. Okay. If no one knows if you ask your folks, I want you to do a good job. How do you interpret that? How do you interpret that? How do you interpret that? How do I interpret it? Okay. We got 4 different interpretations of what a good job is. Let's make it easy for everybody. Write it down. Think of it as the rules to whatever sport you like, okay, or whatever game you're playing. They all have rules, so we understand who wins, who loses. That's having that responsibility listed out, those tasks that they need to take care of, have that listed out. That helps them understand how they can win. And they win by providing you with the best quality of whatever that position requires. And we make those for a position, not for folks, because people are going to move on. They might get married. They might move out of the state, whatever. We want to have defined positions that we can easily hire for. Instead of making a position for Bob and one for Jane, we got one for Mark, we got one for Jesse. Okay, well, no, you need a videographer's outline. You need a crane operator's outline. What certificates, what education, what minimum time in a crane they need. If you got a truck driver, they need to have a commercial driver's license, and on and on and on. These all need to be things that you can, that are easy to list and easy to verify, instead of don't ever say you got to have a good attitude. Okay? You can't measure attitude. Can you? No, you can't measure attitude. So don't put that in there. You want them to work on time? Then tell them that you got to be there within 3 minutes of the start time.
What do you say then? Because like, I'm guilty of it. Like, look, I walk in, and that's why I'm being better about it. But like, if I'm mad, everybody knows I'm mad. Austin will tell you right now, he's rolling his eyes.
Oh, listen, the funny thing about that, listen.
I come in and he pisses me off.
Everybody. Oh yeah, well no,
he tries to get at me and gets me pissed off.
I feed off of it because look, his people are like, oh, I'm on eggshells. I don't want to make Nick. Man, fuck Nick. I don't care what Nick says. Like, I'm gonna poke at him. I'm like, oh, what, you need a hug, bro?
Well, I'm not out there like fucking screaming at nobody. Like, oh, you better be doing. Like, I walk in and you can just tell I'm pissed off and I'm doing whatever I gotta do, and I get on my computer, I get on my thing, and I'm zoning. I'm just like, oh, man. And all of a sudden, I'll say, oh, you need a hug, buddy. I'm just like, shut the fuck up.
So I'm. My family will attest that I'm very impatient. I have very little patience. Period. I
can't agree with that. I don't agree with that.
Yeah, well, you can ask them. We can call my sweetheart, and she'll let you all know. Because I've always worked a lot, and so therefore I don't have a lot of time. Whether it's in the evening, on the weekend, I don't have a lot of time to get things done around the house. We have a 150-year-old house, actually older than that. It's the first house on our street, Alta Street in Grass Valley, California. And we're between Sacramento, and Tahoe.
Better be
is
careful.
where we
People
live.
gonna find your house on
Yeah,
that's
Google
fine.
Maps.
That's
I
fine.
found where he lives.
Yeah, well, a lot
Steve
of
ain't
folks.
tripping.
Yeah, he's like, I don't think nobody wants to come and
Whatever.
kill me.
Whatever. Not yet. And so because the house is old, it needs a lot of work. A lot of work. Kids call me Sparky because I used to get lit up when I was working on the electrical so much. Because I have so little time at home, it's like I got to get this stuff done. I'm smiling because I'm thinking about an instance where we're putting in new windows in the house. Okay, and this is a little office space to make for my sweet wife. Her name is Shirley. I love her with all my heart, and she's been so patient with me. I married so over my head. This young lady, so beautiful, so kind, so loving, puts up with my stupidity for 42 or it would be 43 years this November.
I would love to know what the hell you classify your stupidity as. Like,
Oh well,
I'm just over here looking at.
Oh,
I look
no.
at. I mean, just being real. Like you could come in here. Like
Oh.
I would say everybody in this office kind of looks up to you. I'll be
Oh, that's
honest
very
with you.
kind.
So
Very kind.
I would say everybody can say that. Everybody. So what the hell do you?
Oh, I'm an
you know what I
idiot. I'm an
mean?
idiot at
like
home.
like.
No, I'm an idiot at home because I have so little time there, and I've made so many mistakes. And I tell everyone that my sweet wife, she's got a list for me. It's in 6 font, and it's like a mile long. I'm still working on the first sheet of things that I need to improve on. And so that over sense of urgency and wanting to get things done means I don't take a breath and slow down. And so I funky framed in this window, put the vinyl window in, and started shooting in. I had a nail gun, and I heard my sweetheart start to scream, and she ran out of the office. And I got the window tacked up, and I go, "What's going on?" She goes, "You're shooting nails through the wall."
Oh no.
Oh yeah.
Oh no.
Where
yeah.
straight through?
Yeah, I went straight through, because I funky framed it to be quick about it. I was missing the stud, and I was shooting through the vinyl, shooting right in the room where my sweetie is. So that you know,
she's probably thinking,
oh.
I'm getting shot up.
Oh yeah. So that's just one example of my stupidity, and there's many others. There's plenty of others, and so I'm just grateful that she saw whatever she saw in me so many years ago. The first time I met her, I was 15-ish. Where we live in Grass Valley, there's a city 45 minutes away from us, Yuba City. It's also country, and as a youth group, we went down and went roller skating there. On the way back, we sat by each other. Neither one of us can remember who sat by who. Anyway, we sat by each other, and I actually talked to her, and we had a great conversation, and that stuck with me for years. I was a freshman at that time, and Shirley's a junior in high school, and so. For about 6 months after that, I kind of followed her around school. Nowadays, they call that stalking. Back then, it wasn't stalking. I was just curious what her classes were, where she's going, stuff like that. All right. So that's 15 and a half. Okay. So things happen. And I'm a senior now. Shirley's been out of high school. And we both like to dance. And so I was invited to be in a specialty number. There was only going to be 4 couples. Well, in that dance, we got to select our partner. So I got on the rotary phone, spun the numbers to Shirley's house, and her mom picked up. And I said, well, this is Steve Williams. I'm curious if Shirley's available. I'd like to talk to her. Well, Mom Fox thought that I was another young man, that Shirley was not interested in at all. And she goes, I'm sorry, Shirley's not available right now. I said, okay, thank you. I hung up the phone. Well, my mom came around the corner and asked me how'd it went. Well, first of all, I was really shocked that Mom would care. And I said, well, Mrs. Fox said that Shirley's not really interested. And she goes, I know Viola. Let me call her and see what's going on. It's like, who's Viola? I don't know who Viola is. I know her as Mrs. Fox. Mm-hmm. Mom gets on the phone. Hi, Viola, this is Colleen. Yeah, no. And one thing about my mom, was only 100 pounds, but she could talk for hours on one breath. It was amazing, absolutely amazing. And so she gets this all worked out. She explains everything, who I am, because I'm not this other gentleman. And so the arrangements are made that Shirley will be my partner. So we practiced a couple times a week. Practices are usually an hour and a half, maybe 2 hours. And so I got the nerve up to ask her if she'd like to go out for pizza afterwards. And that was our first date. So we went to this little pizza place.
I imagine this in my head.
Yeah.
His mom was his biggest wingman. That's
Yeah,
crazy.
exactly.
Like,
Exactly. Yeah.
She's like, what the hell? Wait, who didn't want to be with my son?
Yeah. And so we go to this pizza place, and granted, back then I was probably about 215, and I'm 290 now. So I was a little more of a catch back then. And
Still sitting around Austin's waiting.
we got
go.
pizza. We got pizza. Shirley ate a piece and a half, and I wolfed down the rest because I hadn't eaten all day. Okay, and I had no problem eating the whole thing. And then when we finished with that, we went back over to the church. That's where we were. That's dance was for our church group for a regional area, and that's where Shirley was parked. So drove her back over in my '66 Mustang, dropped her off, and then I went down to Penn Valley to my buddy's house because typically every Saturday night we worked on our cars. There was 3 of us. We'd be down there till 1, 2, 3 in the morning working on our cars, and then we go to church the next morning. We got a shower in between, or else we were covered in Bondo or dust, whatever we were working on, grease and stuff. And so that was the first impression I left with Shirley, was that I dropped her off and then I went to go work on my car. Yeah. What a catch, huh? So we dated some more, and I made some better choices in my life, and asked her if she would marry me, knowing full well that in a few months I was going to leave and go to England to serve a mission for our church for 18 months. So we got engaged before that. We had quite a few folks tell us how stupid we were, and they were folks that I really respected. And so I had to start developing thick skin back then in regards to what folks saying. Served in England for 18 months, came home, and I came home on the 8th or 9th of November, and we were married on the 26th of
So she didn't know about the trip?
No, she knew that I was planning to do
Oh,
that.
before she said yes?
Absolutely.
Okay, I was about to say that's crazy.
Yeah.
If not.
No, she knew that I was going to serve a mission, and that was important to her as well. And so when I got the call and I was assigned to England, got to deal with.
What did you go do out there?
So over there we would knock on doors and tell folks about our Lord Jesus Christ, and
so basically just like going like door to door. Basically.
Yeah, we would track absolutely.
Like, Lloyd just went to where he went. He went to Japan.
Yeah,
they went built what they did like build houses.
Yeah, he did like a service mission.
Yeah, service mission.
Yeah. And some folks do that, and ours was is a proselyting mission. So we would talk to folks, whether in the street, in their homes, and tell them about our Savior Jesus Christ and how important He is. And so I did that for 18 months. Ran out of money because we fund our own. And
I don't ask some money from other people.
No.
Oh, okay, wait up, hold on.
Yeah, no.
This might be an organization that I can mess with right here. So y'all believe in God.
Yeah, absolutely.
And y'all don't ask for money from other people to fund y'all things that y'all do.
There are funds for folks who don't have the means to provide,
right. But the church isn't asking y'all.
No, his church doesn't have a jet or a Rolls Royce or Ferraris.
Yeah, no.
Basically what I was saying.
Yeah. No, we don't. No. And so.
That's crazy.
And so I ran out of money about the time my mom sold her house. My mom and my dad got divorced when I was 18. That's a whole other story. And so she sold the house, moved into an apartment with her and my sister. And then she was able to fund, I think, 4 to 6 months. I can't remember when I ran out. I just remember I ran out of money because it cost me about $750 a month over there at that time because of the exchange rate and whatnot. And I didn't have that much built up.
But that really isn't horrible. I mean,
Yeah. Well, remember this is 81, 82.
Oh, so that's pretty bad. Then.
It was expensive.
Yeah, that's
it was good.
expensive.
It was good.
Yeah.
And so, so anyway, she sold the house. She paid the last few months of my mission for me, and then I came home on the 8th or 9th of November, and then we were married on the 26th of November. And my sweet wife married an unemployed guy.
Unemployed with no house.
Unemployed with no house. She already had it. She had an apartment for us. She had it furnished. She had
like you hit the lottery.
She planned the wedding out. I showed up, was there, got married, came home, I worked a little side jobs because November's really not a busy time for construction because we have 4 seasons out there. So December, January, February, usually snow on the ground. Things.
That's
busy.
why Steve works so hard. She's like, look, I fronted the beginning. Now
Yeah,
you gonna finish. You gonna finish the end off. Look, it's up to you now. I did the front end.
Exactly.
That's crazy.
I covered the first 2 years.
Yeah, you cover the rest.
An investment with interest.
Hey, that's what I'm gonna do with Taylor.
You gonna quit everything when she becomes
Once she becomes a pediatric dentist, we opening up like 5 offices, and I ain't doing not a thing after that, boy. Like she gonna watch this and be like,
yeah,
boy,
I'm about to get rid of this
pop,
bum.
slap me in the mouth.
Yeah. So and then after that, so by spring, I worked odd jobs, whatever I could do. It wasn't steady work, but it was whatever I could get. And the manager felt sorry for me, so he hired me part time through the winter a little bit. And then when the season kicked in, I was in building supply, and that's where I spent 35 plus years of my life. I took a 5-year hiatus after a partnership that didn't go so well. I learned a lot, didn't go so well, but that means I lost money.
What do you mean? Like you did a 5-year hiatus? Like
I took a 5-year break from the building supply industry. Yeah,
okay.
Because I lost at that time a significant amount of money.
What do you mean by that? Like you took a break? Like you just didn't work at all?
Oh no!
Okay.
No, he's talking about from that industry.
Yeah,
He was
I went
basically gun shy, so to say, not to make that same mistake.
Yeah,
Okay.
so I went into the feed industry.
Okay.
And so I did that for 5 years, and then a new building supply company came in the area. They were a large chain, and the manager started calling on my old client, Jim Taylor, great guy. He's the one with the short shorts and the gold chain, and he goes, Steve, you want to get back in the industry? I go, I don't know, Jim. It really didn't treat me all that good. He goes, well, I got somebody here that's convinced they need to hire you and they need to talk to you. And I went, I don't know. So we had a good conversation, and I interviewed with them, and they hired me, and I did real well. I was in the top 10 3 years in a row.
Yeah, but you should feel good and feel value from that. Like that somebody is going out their way to find. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
That means that you provide something that.
Yeah, no, Jim was. Jim was just. He had a gold. He just had a gold heart. He might swear like a sailor, which is not a problem. I'm a military brat, so it's not like I've never heard the words before.
Right.
But yeah, no, out of his kindness and that he would remember me and take the time to go, hey, you need to talk to these guys and convince them they need to interview me. Yeah, I'm internally great and indebted to Jim and his kindness, and
sounds like
always remembered.
Well, look, I told Steve, you're talking about a long-term relationship. Look, I told him, like, look, even after he's finished over here.
I was about to say,
Well, wait,
are you
hold
coming
up.
to Christmas next year?
No, look, I told him, even after he's done, I said, look, it's going to be a different scenario because we're going to fly up there to your area and we're going to get him to show us around there. So that's going to be the...
That'll be fine.
That'll
be fine.
so...
Yeah. And what I tell all my clients is until they sell the business or till I die, I'm their consultant for life. And so I don't plan on dying until I'm 100, and I'm 62 right now. So I think there's,
4 years left in you.
Ample opportunity for me to continue to support.
Hell yeah. We definitely got to think about you whenever it's time to go snowboarding up in Northern California. Y'all got mountains up there, huh?
We do, yeah. We're hour 15 minutes from Boreal. So yeah, there's plenty of places to snowboard. Yeah, I don't do that, but that's fine.
You can watch me. Oh, well, shoot. Do y'all have anything from Mr. Steve before we end this one? I mean,
I'm gonna see him tomorrow.
Yeah, I know.
No.
What we at right now,
work,
Brand?
yeah.
Like,
Oh, that's good.
Cool. Well, we appreciate you coming on. I mean, this is a great episode. I think we could be able to pull a lot from this.
I hope so. Yeah.
So
I hope so.
Nope, appreciate it.
Yep.
Thank y'all.
I got hella problems. Don't need no shovel, handle dirt with choppers. You get your issues, try killing me. Eliminate